So Chain Chatter is a weekly space that we do, and the space is about crypto, blockchain in general, and we just do it every Wednesday at noon Eastern. Um, so you know, the general format is about 40 minutes or so of kind of one-on-one interview style, and then in the last 15 minutes or so we do audience Q&A. So throughout the show, there is a threadcast that you can join. Um, and I will put the link on the Jumbotron now. And if you join that threadcast, you can engage while we're live, obviously ask questions. And then I will be picking those out throughout the show and then leveraging them for the audience Q&A at the end. So without further ado, we've got Rintaro here on the stage. Welcome. Who do I have the pleasure with speaking with today?
Hey, good morning, Carl. It's a pleasure to be here. My name's Jake, and yeah, I'm the CTO leader of Rintaro. Great to meet you, bro.
Hey, nice to meet you, Jake. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for doing this. I see your community is already in the chat in full force, so definitely excited to talk with you and see how you've been doing on Solana and just in the space in general. The first question I love to ask people is, how did you get into the space? When did you get in the space, and what kind of ultimately brought you here?
Yeah, it's a great question. For me, it was kind of like a very slow burn. I bought a little bit of Bitcoin back in 2016, I think it was, when it was like $500 or something. I might have bought $100 of it, and maybe sold it for $500, and then didn't think too much about crypto for a few years, and then started dabbling a bit again, getting into Bitcoin and Ethereum a bit. But it wasn't until somewhat recently, about a year and a half ago, where I just came to a, I don't know, something happened, some lightning bolt just hit me, and I was like, why am I not doing this? Like, I think because of the learning curves, it deters so many people. Crypto is such a new frontier, and it is a big learning curve, and still is. I learn something new every day. But yeah, I just got to a point where I wanted to be the one in control of my financial destiny. I started off trying to automate it, and do things like algorithm bots and copy trading, and all that sort of thing, and had a little bit of success. But I came to the realization that if anything would happen to those wallets I was tracking, or to the algorithm or whatever, then I would be back at square one. So to really take, the reins into my own hands, and to become more and more full on. So I got into a great private DAO, really accelerated that, part of my journey. And then, yeah, obviously just doing my own trading, and then got the huge honor and life-changing experience of getting involved in this CTO. So yeah, bit of a slow burner for me, and I guess you would say that the bulk of my crypto journey started not that long ago, about a year and a half.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love that you kind of took the hands-on approach. That's definitely something I resonate with. It's one thing to just kind of get into the space and buy some crypto and kind of watch the coins go up and down, but I definitely enjoy the more hands-on expertise of things. Where did you spend most of your time when you first got into the space, blockchain wise?
Yeah, I mean, I started off with I felt like it was a really nice balanced portfolio. It was a nice portfolio, but it wasn't going to make the big X's. I had the majors, some Bitcoin, some Ethereum, some Solana, but then I got into some nice alts. I was looking at things like Jupiter, um, Sui, AVAX, those sort of like those medium big sort of things, altcoins, some more utility plays, and yeah, I was kind of going a bit more conservative approach, and then one fateful day I kind of discovered the meme market, and yeah, it's kind of been a game over since then. It's been I shifted, what they say not to do, but the majority of my portfolio into memes. Very risky, but I also feel like I do a lot of due diligence. I'm in the trenches every day. I'm spending hours on this. It's not like finding some random coin that might go up or it might go to zero. I'm have my finger on the pulse. So started off, kind of more into the utilities, and then got into Solana memes, and even more recently, just in the last month or two, have branched out into some Ethereum memes as well.
And what's your opinion of, and I've been kind of paying attention to this a lot lately, so I think there's, some general interest around it. What's your opinion of, Ethereum, for a lot of the memes and just trading in general, versus L2s? There's kind of this mounting conversation around, the L1 of Ethereum, and then all these different L2s that have kind of proliferated and gained some traction.
Yeah, I mean, Ethereum is such an interesting one because I mean, it's definitely here to stay. It's going to be kind of like the gold and silver, in my opinion. Bitcoin and Ethereum will be kind of like the gold and silver of those fixed currencies. It's interesting though. The gas fees are so high on Ethereum, and that I think was what deterred me for a long time. But then what you see, on Solana, obviously you have zero fees basically, so it makes the cheating a lot easier, and you're not having to pay 40-50 dollars on fees, so you think a lot harder about selling for a 20, $50, even $100 profit. It's a kind of like a mini locking mechanism. So I mean, I don't like it, but I also really like it. The L2s I think will do well because Ethereum will do well. Everything that's built on Ethereum will see the rising tide raising all ships. But yeah, there's something about Ethereum that I just love trading on because when I take some profits on those, then I'm also holding Ethereum, and that I see that doing really well this cycle. It hasn't followed Bitcoin and Solana in the last week or two, seeing those pumps, but for me that's even more bullish. Just that there's money, there's capital on the sidelines. It's waiting to be rotated into Ethereum, so definitely bullish on Ethereum. I think Solana will be the sort of meme capital of this cycle, but I think Ethereum will be right there with it, and all the layer twos on top. They'll be there. I think we're seeing some action with Sui. We're seeing some action with Avax. We're seeing action with Tron. We're seeing action with Ton. So I think all of these chains will do well.
Yeah, and I've been following the kind of ETH Bitcoin trade and actually trading it as well. The ETH Bitcoin, or Ether price in Sats is obviously not performing very well. And I think a lot of people are, kind of calling for the bottom somewhere around like 0.03-ish. And it's getting pretty close to that. So definitely something I've been keeping a close eye on. How do you feel about Solana's, you mentioned that you think Solana is going to be kind of the meme capital of this cycle. How do you feel about Solana's value capture on being, the capital of that? Do you think it's just that a lot of attention is going to be there, or do you actually see Solana and the, Sol capturing a lot of that value itself?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of both. Really, I think just the onboarding into Solana, the way that I see it, is just so much easier. That's just the natural way that I went in my journey. Because there is so many people talking about things on Solana. There's a lot of projects being launched on Solana. There's very little barrier into Solana. So if you're buying into Ethereum for the first time, and you're putting in $150 and you have to pay 30 of that to the gas fees, then you're kind of a bit skeptical, I think. Whereas, with Solana, you're paying 0.002 cents. So just in terms of how easy it is for people to get into Solana, you have Jupiter Exchange, you have Photon, I mean, I've switched over from, trading a lot on bots to basically exclusively doing my trades on Phantom Wallet now. That's got a really great user interface, very very easy. It was less fees than a lot of the bots that I was using. So I just think the ease that people can get into it. Ethereum, um, MetaMask and Uniswap Wallet are the two that I use, and they're a little bit, they're still easy to use, but a little bit clunkier. I don't like them as much. Phantom is just very intuitive, and for people that have never done, crypto before, that's really what they're looking for. They're looking for something simple. They can click a few buttons. They don't have to, figure out the slippage and the gas fees and all this stuff. So yeah, I definitely see Solana as just the hub of activity. All the activities going on, the projects, the big people, they're mostly on Solana. I mean, some are across chains, but the majority of their sort of plays will be on Solana.
Yeah, I think that kind of value capture question has always been of interest to me. Um, how do you feel about the Solana onboarding in general? You mentioned that it's one of the best and easiest to use. What, in your opinion, makes it so good and so easy to use from a kind of new user perspective?
I think that Solana is emerging as the third cryptocurrency, obviously behind Ethereum and Bitcoin. So I think that that it's kind of like the I don't know if that's gold and silver. It's maybe bronze or whatever the other ones are. Nickel, platinum, one of the other precious metals. So it's established itself as as here to stay. I think also the market cap of Solana itself makes it more appealing. It's a lower market cap than Ethereum, so again, more enticing for people. Again, I just think it was really like if you go into Google and you type in best Solana wallets or something, and you look through the wallets, you look through Jupiter Exchange. It's just got so many resources there, which are very very easy to use. I love a lot of the features on Jupiter, which actually make it so much easier to do some of the things. They have a DCA feature where, if you don't have the time to be watching the chart all day, you can set a dynamic DCA feature where it'll just do it for you. You can do things like locking supply um, for a certain period of time. And I'm also just really bullish on Meow, the creator of Jupiter Exchange. He's an incredible person in the space. Um, Yeah, just the tools that are easily available there. You don't have to. I mean, you have to have a wallet, obviously, but you don't have to trade through the wallet. You can trade through Telegram bots. You can trade through Jupiter, through Photon, and I mean even Pump.Fun, as uh, as as an exciting and dangerous place it is. You can trade on Pump.Fun so easily. And for people, it's again looking for different niches. People that are looking for those really low cap super gambles can, if you click of a button, get onto Pump.Fun. And so it really just caters to a broad range of investors as well. And yeah, just the fees, it comes down to it. People, if you're putting in $150 and you get 499.99998 Solana worth, or you get 130 Ethereum worth, like if you're a small investor, then I know which one that I'm going for.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So let's dive into Rintaro and how it came to be. So, how did it start? How did the project kind of gain its original footing and start building, the original community behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Rintaro, just a little bit of the backstory. Rintaro is the brother of Nero. So Nero, I don't know how much your community is into memes, but just a little backstory on that. Nero was adopted by Kabosu Mama when Kabosu passed away earlier this year. So we just saw the craze that emerged of Nero basically becoming the next Dogecoin or the next Shiba. Um, so Nero, I think today was at 750 mil, and there's two other Neros, another one on Ethereum, which is I think around 100 mil, and another one on Solana, which is around 5 mil. So the narrative of Nero as an extension of Doge was undeniable, and then Basically, the plot really thickened because it turned out that Nero had a brother. They were in the shelter together and they got separated. So I basically saw this project launch on Solana. I got in, I think it was on the second day. It was about a $2 million market cap. We went to $4 million, and then I can't speak on exactly what happened, but my understanding is that the original team didn't have the intention or the drive to see the project to its highest potential, and rugged it basically. So it dropped down to about 200K. I charged in there and bought the dip, and yeah, we had a few days of real chaos, really not knowing what was going on. Did the team rug it? Was it capitulation? Was it what was going on? And as the dust settled, it emerged, yes, the team was a dodgy team. And at that point, most projects in Solana would just go to zero. They would, everyone would capitulate, they would sell at a loss and get out. But what happened with Rintaro, everyone sort of saw the strength of the narrative. They refused to let the story die. A bunch of us all jumped in on those dips, and we dipped from 4 million to 200K, and then straight back up to 2 million. So we had these crazy capitulations, and then also crazy conviction bounces. So yeah, the CTO just kind of took off straight away. Most CTOs kind of struggle for a while figuring out what's going on. We fortunately had a great group of people in there already who saw the strength of the narrative. I jumped in. I had a tiny bag. I just got to say, I could have walked away, but I saw the community forming. I saw the potential of the narrative. It was called over 30 times at launch, um, and so I just started creating content. I have my own design studio. I'm an architect and also a graphic designer. So I just asked myself, how can I be of service? I jumped in, started making content every day. I started, opening VCs every day to coordinate it with everyone so that, there wasn't that sort of confusion being alone in the dark, and, made a whale group to coordinate with the top holders so that, again, they wouldn't be alone, wondering if the other top holders were selling, if they could coordinate on strategic buys. And, after a few days of that, kind of got surprised because the community just randomly announced that they had voted me as the leader. It wasn't like a thing, I wasn't like, hey guys, we should look for a leader. But yeah, so that happened, and it was just an incredible honor. I wasn't expecting to be running a project 2 months ago, but yeah, I'm just super grateful for the opportunity. It's changed my life in an indescribable way. Connecting with the community in the way that we have. And at that point, the whales donated 0.1% of supply to me, and so I had a bigger bag. I've since donated that to our community wallet, our marketing wallet, and have just been buying back at market to support the chart. So I'm now at I think 0.3%, and we'll be building that to 1% again. But we have basically just over 30% of supply in control of those whales that I mentioned, and they've been in calls with me every day. These are guys that I've been vetting and have confidence in. Obviously, a few have dropped out along the way, and that's totally fine. It's an open market, and they've even been open about it. They said this life circumstance came up. I'm really sorry, guys. I hope I can buy back in a little while. But they didn't have to do that. They could have just sold, left the group. No, there would have been nothing to it. But everyone in there is very bonded now, and yeah, we're looking to lock 5% of that supply for the next few months, just as a more bullish selling point. And yeah, just community is everything for me. I in my work, I specialize in designing retreat centers, community building. I do permaculture design. So yeah, community is a big part of the work that I do, and just the opportunity that it's created here to create a real community has been very special. Um, Sorry to go on so long. I'll let you jump in there.
No, yeah, that's great. I love the backstory, and for context, our um our community. I think there's some of us that are pretty big into memes, but definitely not all of us. I know that there's plenty of us who haven't really gotten too deep into the meme, kind of ecosystem and all the lore behind it. So I appreciate the backstory. I definitely love the ideas around building community and forging community. I think that's kind of the one of the biggest things in crypto, especially. Is that a lot of these communities are forged out of the fire. Like you kind of go through those hardships together, and then that's what ultimately builds the really strong core community. I know we've definitely experienced it many times and throughout the cycles on Inleo. So I definitely appreciate that narrative of forging your core community through those hardships. Um, how has your experience been? Obviously, since becoming CTO. How has your experience been, building up the community and, working with whales and, what are some of the things that you've done to kind of rebuild that narrative and rebuild the strength of your community?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what you just said. Community is everything, and it's for me, it's not conviction until it's tested. You can be the most convicted person in the world when everything's going your way, but when things flip and you have a challenge ahead of you, if you lose your conviction, that was never conviction. So I always say capitulation maketh the community. Um, we were forged in the fire, like you said. We bonded through that. Like these guys, we're in VCs every day. We're chatting. We know each other's lives. We've connected, and it was through those traumatic experiences. Like so many great inspirational people in the world. The reason, or the catalyst, I should say, that they've gone on to achieve those successes is because of some hardship that happened in their life. And I know that's true in my life. I've had a big hardship happen, which sort of catapulted me to this place that I am in my life. But yeah, in terms of community, it is a real challenge. And I'll just say, the main reason that communities fail, not just in crypto, but outside in real life, in residential communities, in all sorts of communities, is through communication. Um, I think the hierarchy, the leadership, the democracy of it is the greatest strength and also the greatest challenge. When you grow your community, and what that means is more vibrance, more diversity, more resilience. But it also means more clashes of opinions, more friction, just more discourse. I'll say. But I feel like friction is not a bad thing. You need a little friction to start a fire, as long as it stays respectful, as long as it stays open, honest, and I believe that there's nothing that shouldn't be able to be discussed. So I've just been very open and honest with the community. I'm not trying to hide anything. Even if something happens and maybe it wasn't the right course of action, I say, guys, this is what we did. This is what happened. Maybe not the best result. It's all an experiment. Nothing is a mistake. It's all a lesson unless you label it a mistake. So yeah, it's just been a very sort of genuine. Being genuine, I feel, is the most important thing. Not trying to overhype anything, but also keeping the excitement. Um, just being consistent, being persistent, being patient, and knowing that certain moments there will be fire, there will be anger, there will be stress, there will be all sorts of emotions, and to honor that, to hold place for it. We've branched out in some of our VCs into topics like mental health. We're working a lot for integrating charity into our project. And I see Azumi Chan here, they're a big inspiration of ours. They've been smashing the charity work, they're with the dog shelters that they're working on. So I think it's just about that, showing up every day with a good intention. And people have been traumatized by Solana with projects which have had such potential, and not been able to achieve it because of whatever factors, whether it's the team, whether it's the community, whether it's a combination. So people are looking for. I always say this to my community, to our community. I should say that everyone wants to be in this community. They might just not know it yet, and our job is to enlighten them, to engage with them, to expand our circle. So I mean, there's no shortcut. There's been tough moments, there's been euphoric moments, but it's just really about you know having a vision, being true in your heart, and just putting yourself out there, and people will come in behind you and support in ways that will blow your mind. I'm getting emotional thinking about it because there's been so many moments where I'm like, I don't know what to do right now. And then one of the team or some new member of the community comes in and says, yo, like, I'm going to donate 5 Sol to the marketing wallet, or I have this connection, or, whatever it is. And it's just amazing the way that if you put yourself out there, then, uh, certain things just align in magical ways.
Yeah, I think it all goes back to loving what you do and being really intimate with everything that you do on a daily basis. Because if you don't love what you do, and especially in this industry, you're going to go through a lot. You're not going to stick with it long enough to really see anything come to fruition. So, uh, um, yeah, it's awesome that you kind of get a little emotional even thinking about it. But that's really what goes to show what it means to you to be in this space and do what you're doing. I think a lot of people come in for the wrong reasons. I know plenty of people who do that as well. And one thing I love to see is, even though some people come in for the wrong reasons, the reason they end up staying and sticking around are for good reasons, and they find something that's more meaningful than just the dollar figures that you see, which are definitely the shiny object in crypto in general. Um, what are some of the things that you guys do on like a regular basis? Where do you meet to chat? You mentioned there's some chats out there, but where do you meet to like chat, gather? Do you do spaces on a regular basis? What's kind of your regular schedule for gathering as a community?
Yeah. So just on what you said first, I say come for the gains, stay for the community. So obviously we're here to make money, but we can also connect and have a whole lot of fun doing it. Some of the things that we've been doing, we've been doing daily VCs now. Today will be the 40th day in a row, so 1 month and 10 days. We've been doing X Spaces a lot. We started off with a partnership with just like an ex-host who was really great. We saw a 600% pump in our chart from that. A nice marketing push. We're now in a current partnership with the Kid and Walter Show, who put on a really amazing show with showcasing really good projects. They dox their projects heavily. I've had 2 video calls with them that went for nearly 2 hours both. So they're committed to doing good projects, and I'm basically in spaces every moment that I am working and doing anything. So the last, I think yesterday I was probably in spaces for about 12 hours, even longer the day before. I mean, that's not every day, but I am sitting in spaces for at least 4 to 6 hours every day, making incredible connections. It started off kind of feeling quite alone in the space, and a little bit nervous to go up and talk, and now I'm talking on spaces every single day. I'm co-hosting a lot. We just launched our own initiative, which is called the CTO Cartel. So me and another project, Fake News, which is another great community, um, just had the idea. We're all on these X spaces so much. We're getting a lot of street cred. People recognize that we are putting in the work, that we have a good vision, and so why don't we start one for CTOs that can, CTOs are becoming such a meta this cycle. With Nero, she was a CTO, and Bull T Bull, just to name a few. But we're seeing so many CTOs becoming successful this cycle, and I think there's a real change in the sort of sentiment of the market. That we're used to big teams, bundled supply, and then KOLs, as the tier four KOLs as they call them now, just sort of like farming, dumping, slow rugs. So yeah, the CTO cartel is another great initiative we've started. We'll be doing our third or fourth episode tomorrow at 9 p.m. EST time, UTC time, 9 p.m. UTC. If anyone's interested, it's great fun. Um, we've got about 20 projects in there, which will be rotating the co-hosting. So yeah, I mean, X Spaces has been a huge part of it. This cycle, we're seeing just so much alpha activity, so much of what's happening, at least in memes anyway. That's really what I'm paying attention to, is happening on X Spaces. We're doing daily VCs, doing daily updates, and yeah, just very active in the TG, in the whale room. Sometimes the whales are having too much fun in the whale room, and I have to remind them, guys, like, stay active in the main TG, guys, too. So yeah, it's just about that. The activity. It's time. It just takes time. Every day putting in the time, putting yourself out there. It's not easy. I mean, I'm sure, as hosting these spaces, it gets a lot easier. But even this one, I've never come up before, and so you get a little bit nervous. But that's what it is. Putting in the hours on spaces, and now it just feels like I'm hanging out with my friends. It feels like I didn't want to go to sleep last night. It was 2 a.m. I was supporting another friend's space, and I ended up falling asleep on the space. But yeah, just the connections you make, and having having a real voice. Like on spaces, you have music, you have voices, you can read more into that than just words on a screen. So yeah, definitely loving the X spaces.
Yeah, I love to hear that, and I love to hear that you enjoy the spaces so much. You're just kind of chilling on them, at night. I think that's really cool to just be hanging around with people you enjoy spending time with. I've definitely found a similar vibe with just on Inleo, obviously more being kind of like X in terms of threading, which is the equivalent of tweeting. Just kind of hanging around with the community and just talking about random stuff. Like for example, yesterday we did a threadcast for the election, and we were all just kind of watching the election results and obviously having fun with the fact that Bitcoin was reaching all-time highs during it. So definitely cool to just kind of hang around and be around like-minded people. What are some narratives that you're watching if we take a step back in the broader kind of meme space? What have you noticed so far, and in this cycle, and what are you kind of expecting as we near the end of 2024 and enter 2025?
Yeah, that is a really great question. I love, watching the sort of cycles of the metas emerge in memes, because it's kind of like a news channel. Like if you look at what's being launched on Pump.Fun on any given day, you'll get a pretty good idea of what's going on in the news. Um, some of the metas that I've really liked so far, we saw on Solana, there was, the Boys Club, Land Wolf came out, a lot of Boys Club. Um, definitely one of my favorite ones this cycle, obviously, is the Doge family, the Doge narrative, Nero. Um, the guy who has been mentoring me is another CTO leader who's leading the project of Gal, which is a very successful CTO. They're at about 10 million, I think, right now. So that's Baby Nero. There's another one that's just launched called Oscar, which is, the original designer of the Shiba Inu logo. So yeah, I think Nero is definitely Nero Doge. As we're in that family, that's definitely my favorite meta. But we've seen the AI meta emerge. I feel like that was a very sort of nefarious, dark one. It's still going on a little bit. It's died off a lot. I mean, cute animals is always a meta since the beginning of time. I've talked about this cute animals versus AI, and you just take it back. What are the original meme coins? It's Doge, it's Whiff, it's Mog. They're all animals. And if you take it even further back, what's painted on the walls of the pyramids? What's painted on the walls of caves? It's cute animals. So cute animals always a meta. And I think that when you come down to the animals, there's been dogs have always dominated in the memes, but now we're starting to see some cats have their run. Pop Cat just went to 1 billion. There will probably be at least 5 or 6 cats that go into the billions. Another one is Janan. That's the cat brother of Nero. So that's another one in the Doge family. What are some other metas? There's been so many. It's like they come and go so quickly sometimes that you just forget about them. But um, yeah, I mean, there's been like I don't even know how to describe it, like the degen style with Geo Bowden, like all the political figures drawn as, like really squiggly cartoons. A lot of the politify meta, obviously, and then you have derivatives of that, like you have Twump, which is the FWOG derivative of Trump. So you start to see all this cross pollination of metas. Yeah, I can't think of any more off the top of my head, but it's always really interesting to watch the metas evolving in meme cycles. And I mean, obviously, the one that's just blown up is Peanut, the squirrel. With the election happening yesterday, and the feds coming in and seizing that squirrel and the raccoon from that guy. That became a huge meta. I think that went to 100 million in a day or two. And so yeah, some of those metas I really like.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to see how fast. I mean, obviously, I think crypto is like, the super fast version of like, TradFi stock markets, but then you go into the meta and you see like meme markets and they're just moving like ultra lightning at in terms of like you can't even keep up with all these different narratives and they come and go so fast. But yeah, I also saw some of the Peanut the Squirrel stuff, and obviously that became like a huge thing. And then Trump started talking about it, Elon was talking about it, and then I saw the meme coins coming out. So definitely just crazy how fast that entire market moves, and I'm fascinated by the kind of like meta cycles that happen within it. Um, so with all that said, I have been pulling the questions from the audience while we've been talking. They've got some great questions so far, and I've got them putting more in as we speak. But let's get into the one thing that I think was kind of funny, not really a question, but it's something to start with before I pull up a few more questions. Um, Addicted said Chad monetary policy, and then shared a screenshot of Rintaro, which is up 22% today. Do you want to talk a little bit before I get into like the audience Q&A portion? Just talk a little bit about Rintaro from like a tokenomics perspective. Maybe some of the plans. I see that in the screenshot he posted the fully diluted value is 84,000. Uh, in terms of market cap. So do you want to get into the tokenomics a little bit and some of that?
Yeah, of course. So tokenomics, the supply, the circulating supply is 1 billion tokens. I believe 1.5% of that was burned by the old team. So the old team is as bad as they were. They gifted us a few things, and another one of those being they paid for the first half of a Bitmart listing, so they paid 15K for that. So we have a half price Bitmart listing. So yeah, no, 1 billion tokens circulating supply, 1.5 or 1.7% burned, 0% sales tax, all of that good Solana stuff. And in terms of plans for the future, yeah, so we've been doing these X Space partnerships. We just onboarded. We've been working with a really great in-house artist. Did the PFP and been doing all of our content. His last project that he worked on basically developed a cult community from the art alone. So really excited to work with him, and we've just onboarded a new artist to do all our animations, and he is the Ponky guy who does all of their stuff. So You know, anyone who's not big into memes, Ponky is basically the benchmark of content in memes. You know, everyone sort of copies them, steals their ideas, and they just establish themselves. On Instagram, on X, I think TikTok too. Sorry, excuse me. So yeah, we've just onboarded them. Basically, there's so many little pieces that you do running a project that add up to push it. So one of the things being that we're telling the story of Rintaro being the brother of Nero, and things like the animation. I mean, the content, the still content, the graphics, amazing, tells the story. But there's something even more interactive and engaging of animations. Having just Nero and Rintaro running together in a park, or something small like that. It just really helps people to connect the dots. So we're really committed to building the brand, building the content. It's not just the narrative alone. It's if people didn't know the narrative, they would be able to see the content, the level of it, and to say, okay, wow, this is a project. They're serious. They're putting in. They're investing in their marketing. They have a cool story that I like. This Rintaro guy, he's really cute. So working with amazing artists to tell the story, being very active on X. Obviously doing these partnerships on X is an amazing boost. And the next one for us will be tomorrow with Kid and Walter. And basically each partnership we've done has been a stepping stone, which has led to the next one. So we're already lining up, the next partnership. And through all of this time that I've spent on Spaces, I now have, 3 to 4 guys who are not, calls. They're not influencers. They're just big guys in the space. They have reputations. They push projects. So I'm now, we're basically, we pumped 600%. We came down for a consolidation, and now we're just making our push. And whoever screenshotted that 20%, they should have done it, a little bit earlier. We were actually up 100% on the day when I woke up this morning. So that's always nice to wake up to, and it's so many factors. These partnerships, you know showcasing who we are on X in front of large audiences, doing a lot of ones that aren't paid as well. I'm in those spaces every day, some of them with over 1,000 people. Yeah, I've also been chatting a lot with Andy Lin, who is basically a Bitcoin mega whale from Hong Kong. And yeah, as I mentioned, my mentor, he's on a plane right now to go and meet with Andy in Thailand for their blockchain event. So just like really everything we're doing has been organic. It hasn't been, through trending, through Dex Boost, through volume bots, through all those sort of things. It's been organic. We've made great pushes, and now we're ready to make that next push with, all of these catalysts behind us. And we might even now at this point, with that behind us, look to do things like trending, like Dex Boost, like Dex ads, like volume bot. So yeah, just really positioned ourselves very nicely, I feel, for the bull run. We went to 75K on Bitcoin yesterday. Seems like the bull run is upon us, and we've been holding our breath until this moment. So this could be it. And I just feel like we're so well positioned now, with the connections, with the partnerships, with the people that want to support, with the artists, with the team. Nearly 2 months in now, the team has not dropped off at all. They've expanded with the whales. Been accumulating. Some of the whales have been getting their friends in, and so we've been growing the whale group as well. So just like a lot of factors, locking 5% of supply. That's going to be our next move on Jupiter exchange. So yeah, just some of the things coming up.
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing a lot of those things. I think people are pretty curious when it comes to, the plans for meme communities and what you guys aim to do. So I like that you guys are really out there on the offensive when it comes to, whether it's IRL events or hosting more spaces or being in more spaces. So love to hear that. So we've got about 8 minutes left. in the show before I let everybody go. So let's do kind of a lightning round with some of these audience questions. I've got 6 or 7 pulled up so far. Ahmad Manga asked, glad you first acknowledged how risky meme coins are. And I'll kind of turn that into a question and say, how do you feel about the risk behind meme coins, and what do you usually, tend to tell people, whether it's like their first time getting into a meme coin, or whether they're experienced in crypto, and you're just talking about meme coins, how do you feel about the risk yourself, and how do you explain that risk to others?
Yeah, I mean, risk is such a factor in all of in all of investments, really. But I mean, even more so in crypto, the volatility, and even more so in memes. So basically, everyone has a different risk aversion. I, put most of my portfolio into memes now, and feel comfortable doing it because I'm, in the trenches every day. I know what's going on. I'm aware of news coming out. But I really encourage people to diversify your risk, to do a lot of research, to go into the communities, to ask questions, to look at the chart, to look at the X, to look at what's going on, to and not to put all your eggs in one basket. Put put what you feel comfortable putting in. But for me, I would rather risk some amount, whether it's $150, $1,000, $5,000. That's gonna be I'm gonna regret not putting it in if it goes to hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars than I would be to lose that money. So always put in what you're able to say goodbye to. But do your research and get involved with the communities. It's great to get investments, but the only way to know what's going on is to get involved.
Absolutely. Yeah. A big thing for me is when people say they're curious about something, I tend to tell them just buy a small amount, and then use that as kind of a lever to be curious, because I think it's hard to be curious when you have nothing at stake. But if you can get just even a little bit of skin in the game, it'll definitely make you more curious and more interested in what happens, and then you can obviously scale it from there, and manage your risk as you get more deeply involved in the narrative. And speaking of narrative, Sunseeker asks, seeing that there are many meme coins around a central narrative like Nero, does it dilute the community, or does it make it bigger, in your opinion?
I think it's a great question. I personally think that we all make each other stronger. With all these projects going higher, it draws more attention to the narrative itself. If one project goes to 100 million and another one is at 10 million, then a lot of people will be more likely to go into the 10 million one, just because of the potential for more X's, more gains. Um, I think also, a lot of cross-chain collaboration we're seeing. Nero is on Ethereum, we're on Solana. So there's no sort of competition there. It's a nice synergy. It's a nice symmetry for me. That we have the potential for Nero to be dominating Ethereum, and that we have the potential to step into that on Solana. Um, so no, I mean, I think that we all strengthen each other, not just with the Doge Nero narrative, but also with the CTO narrative. That's why we're committed to working with other quality CTOs, and we all support each other a lot. We call each other out on spaces. We send each other resources. We're rating each other's posts. It's a very supportive thing, and for me, it's always, always, always collaboration over competition. I don't see any value in competing. I just want to collaborate. And so yeah, I see, the stronger that the overall narrative does, then the better it is for those projects.
Absolutely. Love the collaborative approach. It's something I've definitely been a fan of, and why I also invested in a lot of the, kind of cross-chain infrastructure type of projects, because I definitely believe in a multi-chain future, and I don't really buy into all the tribalism. So I really resonate with that as well. Um, let's see here. I've got a few more questions left. One was about Solana. Godfish asks, do you think the outages on Solana have caused a reputation loss, and would it be impossible to regain the trust of the masses, and obviously referring to especially some of the early days of Solana. And I think this is probably one of the biggest issues that people have, or one of the biggest counterpoints to Solana. So, what's your overall opinion about kind of Solana, chain halts, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, I think Solana had it, had its capitulation event and has shown that it has the staying power. I think I saw the other day that someone just filed for another Solana ETF. They did it in Brazil. Solana will be the next ETF, in my opinion, unless by some freak happenings that XRP, gets out of all their lawsuits and stuff. Maybe it could be an XRP ETF, but for me, it's going to be Solana. Solana will be, the little brother to Ethereum. Um, it dropped down to what, like $8-10, something like that, maybe even lower, and now it's nearly 200. It's not going to go. It's not going to zero. It's going to the moon. I, yeah, I mean, it's just has too much now. The volume, the projects on there, the people that are invested in it. I mean, there's so much big money. Like it's too big to fail now.
Yeah, I definitely can see that taking shape, and kind of draws on a point we mentioned earlier, which is going through hardship, and kind of being forged in the fire. Definitely is an important point when it comes to everything, but especially in crypto. And I think that it applies to Solana, as well as it does to anything else. Um, let's do one more question, and then I will let everybody go. Um, Simple Game asks, "Are you, or he just said bullish on ETH? Um, are you bullish from a price standpoint or from a tech standpoint?"
Oh yes, both. I am bullish on the price at the moment. A friend of mine was like, I just got some money. What should I put into? And I told him to put 60% of it into ETH because Solana's pumped and Bitcoin's pumped, but ETH has been a bit stagnant. But no, I mean the tech is incredible. All the layer twos, the layer threes being built on it. I think that the layer one of Ethereum itself will continue to, be refined and improved. And Vitalik is a beast. Do not fade Vitalik. Sometimes he seems very strange, and we don't know what he's doing, but he knows what he's doing. He's a very, very, very smart guy. He knows, this almost better than anyone in the world. So I'm bullish on teams, and they're one of the most bullish teams.
Yeah, I tend to bet on people as well. That's how I've made a lot of various investments, throughout my career, is really just looking at the person that's driving the ship, and then kind of going from there. And really, you can't, there's certain people out there that you shouldn't bet against. So obviously, I think Vitalik is one of those, and ETH has just kind of gotten hit with this pretty strong, L2 narrative that has kind of been anti L1. But I agree with you. I think we're going to see that come back and turn around. Um, so before I let everyone go, do you want to tell the people where they can get more involved with Rintaro, and then also follow you and just be active with the community and learn more?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe is it alright if I pin something on the jumbotron?
Yeah, absolutely. Pin away.
I'll just pin, one of our most recent posts. I think it's got the CA in it, but if you go into our Twitter, we have a link tree. So on that, we'll have our Telegram link, our deck screener link, our okay, all of the links that you need to check us out. So yeah, I mean, jump in the Telegram if anyone wants. It's one of the most positive Telegrams that I've been involved with. There's zero FUD. It's very welcoming. We're just there as the community, and we love to welcome new members in. So yeah, check out the X, check out the Telegram, the deck screener. It's all on the link tree in our X bio.
Awesome. Thanks for that. I just also copy and pasted the link tree into the threadcast, and then I will do the same right now with the post that you just pinned, so everyone can also find all those links and click on them. Yeah, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. I think it was awesome to hear your take. I definitely like that you're very focused on community and very intimately involved, on a daily basis, whether it's spaces or otherwise. So thanks for jumping on, and I hope to do a round two at some point.
No, man, thank you so much for having me. Like this, yeah, I just loved this. I think it was awesome. You're creating a beautiful space, and thanks to everyone who was tuned in, and to the from the In Leo community. Um, excited to check out a new project, and I always say community over everything. It's not just about our community, but we love coming into new communities and making new friends, and opening our eyes to new opportunities in crypto as well.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah. Thanks again, and definitely community over everything. Thanks everybody for joining us, and we will catch you next week, Wednesday at noon Eastern. Peace out.